It was a long day at work, and all I wanted was to get home, crawl into bed, and let the world slip away. The drive was the same as always, a quiet highway stretching on for miles, barely illuminated by the flickering glow of my headlights. My eyes were growing heavier with every mile, every line of the road blurring together in my periphery. Just a few more minutes, I thought. Suddenly, something slammed against my windshield, jerking me out of my half-dazed state. I hit the brakes instinctively, my heart racing as I saw it. A newspaper, flattened and plastered against the glass. The bold, black letters on the front page said, "Local man found dead in locked home. Police have no leads." I let out a weak chuckle. "Just a newspaper," I mumbled, willing my heartbeat to slow down. I got out of the car, tossed the newspaper onto the roadside, and climbed back into the driver's seat, locking the door. Shaking my head, I scolded myself. It was late, and I was letting my imagination get the best of me. I finally pulled into my driveway, letting out a sigh of relief as I shut the engine off. Home. Safe. I went inside, locked the door, and made a beeline for the bathroom to wash off the grime of the day. But as I leaned over the sink, I felt a prickling sensation, like someone was watching me. I whipped my head around, but the bathroom was empty, nothing out of place. The hallway light was dim, as I hadn't gotten around to fixing it. Work was stealing nearly all my waking hours now. I shrugged off the fact that everything just seemed a bit too dark, and headed to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. As I reached for a glass, I noticed something odd on the counter. A fresh newspaper, identical to the one I saw earlier. The thing is, I didn't subscribe to any newspaper. I felt a chill as I scanned the same headline. "Local man found dead in locked home. Police have no leads." The pang of fear I felt quickly turned to paranoia. I was alone. Wasn't I? I double-checked the doors and windows, locking each one firmly. I told myself it was just a coincidence. Some sick joke, perhaps. But the unease wouldn't leave. Every creak of the house echoed louder. Every shadow seemed ominous. Then I heard it, a faint scrape, like nails dragging across wood, coming from the living room. My heart thudded against my ribcage as I slowly inched toward the sound, half convinced I'd find nothing. But when I reached the living room, my blood froze. On the floor, carved into the hardwood, were the words, "Let's play." Panic flooded my body. My eyes darted around, searching for any movement, any hint of an intruder. But the room was still and eerily quiet. I took a shaky step back, then another, until I reached the hallway again. From the corner of my eye, I caught movement, a shadow flitting across the room, barely visible. My pulse hammered as I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, a trick of the dim light. But then, I saw it again. It was creeping closer. The figure was tall, shrouded in darkness, with eyes sunken so deep into their sockets, it was pitch black within. I bolted for the bedroom, slamming the door and locking it, pushing myself against it as if that would keep whatever it was out. The silence was deafening, the tension building with each passing second. My mind raced with memories of the headline, "Local man found dead in locked home." I fumbled for my phone to call for help, but my fingers were trembling, my breath shallow. The sound of slow footsteps grew louder, inching closer to my door. Then, without warning, they stopped. There was only silence. I held my breath, straining to listen. It was as if time had frozen, trapping me in a twisted, endless night. The first light of dawn finally crept through the window, bathing the room in a soft, golden hue. The spell of terror broke as sunlight spilled over me, washing away the dark. I gathered the courage to open the door, and the hallway was empty. No carvings, no shadows, just the warm, ordinary light of morning. I never found any signs of a break-in, no footprints or fingerprints. But that night haunted me. The whisper of footsteps in the dark, the crude message carved into my floor. Every night since, I've double-checked every lock, every shadow. Because while Dawn had saved me once, I knew one thing for certain. It wouldn't always be there to protect me.